Hey, sorry about all that.
All right, we're back again. As you know, it's the third Saturday of the month, and it's third Saturday of the month. It's Legal Standpoint with Michael J. Todd. What's going on, Mike? You doing all right?
Hey, man, we this is like deja vu,
All over
rewind,
again,
man.
yeah. Like that movie,
40 dates or whatever.
yeah.
We're gonna do it again.
Groundhog Day.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
gonna do it
we're
all
gonna do
over
this again. Say we're not gonna see it again on this neither. I say, you see it right here.
Nah, but the thing is this though, man. Everything was smooth before you came back, man.
Well, shoot, let me leave. Let me leave, man. Let me leave. I just don't understand here because
Yeah.
I am seeing here now. I think we have it here.
All right.
You see it?
No.
I don't see it.
You see me with the LBJ on?
No, I don't see no LBJ on this.
Yeah.
I don't see it at all. Linux. I don't see no live feed on the YouTube. I don't see no live feed.
Yeah.
That being said, we're gonna go ahead and go what we got now, since you got a feed going on over there.
Yeah, we do. So we're just having some technical standpoint. Yeah, technical standpoint, folks.
And somehow this country is going through some technical standpoints as well.
Yeah, without a doubt. The country is definitely going through that. And we've been going through that this past week, with this whole Charlie Kirk thing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I can't really understand, how everything has gotten to this point where it is. But we know that on September 10th?
Yeah, September 10th.
That
right.
Charlie Kirk was shot. He died.
Right.
And as anyone that's a decent person will say, the fact of an individual being, shot and killed, that's something that should not be condoned on, at any time,
right.
as it relates to anybody.
Right.
And so, you feel for his kids, you feel for his wife, things of that nature. But you also have to take into account what the person has put out there, what his principles have been, what he has espoused, what he's lived by, as you sit there and try to memorialize or try to honor him. You follow what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so we've got a situation here where, you've got two things that are ongoing. You want to be decent as it relates to someone losing their life and the corresponding negative aspects of that occurring. But you also have to be honest as it relates to what he stood for and what his principles were. And so I think that's the whole dichotomy, that's present right now, is that people are saying that you can't say anything negative, about Charlie Kirk. And, that's just not, it's not saying negative about him about him individually, but maybe some of the principles that he lived by. You follow what I'm saying?
Correct.
Yeah. So, it's, he said a lot of things that have rubbed a lot of people wrong, over time. And, when you think about that, it kind of diminishes what he stood for. Now, of course, the Republicans and, Trump and everybody, they want to talk about, how great he was, and the things that he espoused were things that were consistent or something that they believed in. Of course, Trump is so transactional. He's going to be, elated with anybody that could help him.
Right.
And so Charlie Kirk was a person who ran, and, we talked about Charlie Kirk just last month, on the podcast. At the end of the podcast, we brought up the name of Charlie Kirk and, what his organization, Turning Point USA, what they were doing. We were talking about last month the effect of women and how the DEI initiatives assisted women with respect to moving forward in the economy and also within our society. And that how Charlie Kirk had a conference just recently here in the Dallas area where he was telling women that, hey, look, you shouldn't really even espouse to be, a professional person, that you should be more inclined to be a housewife, things of that nature. And we had Aaron Crittenden here, who was a recent college grad, who just kind of outlined the thoughts that were over at the university that she graduated from as it relates to how that was received. So we knew about Charlie Kirk. And so, he said some things such as that. He's talked about the Civil Rights Act.
Yep.
He said that now you have to be mindful of what he said. He said that the Civil Rights Act should never have been promulgated. Should have never been enacted. And when you think of what was going on in 1964,
and he's what, 31 years old?
Yeah, he's 31 years old. So he wasn't even alive when the Civil Rights Act and what was going on then. But you had churches being bombed. You had people being beaten, people being lynched, people protesting, asking for the right to just go to what? To go to a restaurant, to ride on the bus, just to be, to go to a school that was fully staffed, things of that nature. And when you have those things, and we needed the Civil Rights Act to support that, to make sure that those things occurred, then for him to say that the Civil Rights Act shouldn't have been enacted, I mean, I think it's really a slap in the face, not only to present Black folks, but also for all the people who fought and died in the past. And you can't sit here and say that you can say things like that and that's something that's enduring to people. You follow what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's just one thing that he said. He said that MLK was a fraud and he was awful.
Yeah, he said that.
Yeah, he said
and,
that.
And the bad thing about that is that some people are comparing him to MLK.
And how can you do that? MLK talked about love. MLK talked about people being together, us moving forward as one country, one people. And for someone who's sitting here saying, and we haven't even talked about the things that he said about Black women. He said that that Ketanji Brown was like moronic and unqualified and not a DEI, and she was a DEI person, right? They said that he said that if he saw a Black airline pilot, that the first thing he would think about is whether he was qualified or not. When I see a Black airline pilot, first thing I think is, man, I know that brother's on top of it because he had to go through a lot more. He had to go through a lot more to be in the position where he is.
A lot more. And the sad part about that is that when we see that, we seem to think that I used to, when I was like 25, 26 years old, I said, well, as soon as these older people term out, for lack of a better word, as soon as they term out, things will get better. So here it is. He's a young guy. He's 30-some years old. So as soon as I term out, he would still be here if he hadn't been shot, obviously.
Right.
And what is that saying for us?
Right. What does it say for the young folks?
Yeah.
That people are sitting there and they're fostering these type of attitudes at a young age. And it's kind of like, when you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it.
Right.
And so from that standpoint, we have this whole situation where there's a resurgence of individuals that are trying to take us back. The whole thing, of course, the chief, cheerleader is
the Grand Wizard. Is that what I call him?
Yeah.
It's time out for all this being polite and stuff. Right? He's Grand Wizard as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
If I can't call him felon number 47 or anything else, he's Grand Wizard.
Right. And the thing is this, those weren't the only things that he said. He talked about Paul Pelosi when Paul Pelosi actually was hurt. I mean, he had his skull cracked. He had, the man might not have lived. and he sits there and says that his followers should bond out the person that broke into this man's house and then attacked him and caused him to have major injuries. I mean, how callous can you be? And but he's taking his cues from from his boy, because he just thought the whole thing from Paul Pelosi was just kind of funny. I mean, he never condemned it or anything of that nature.
Well, that's the reason why I'm saying, just call it, just call it the way it is, man. It's like this is sad, in the aftermath that we have with it being sad is the fact that it doesn't seem like it's going to stop.
No, it doesn't, because the thing is this, this is something that they have put together. And when I say put together, the thing is that they're trying to maintain their political power. They're trying to maintain the position of supremacy. And so they'll do anything they can to connect and try to appeal to cultural issues that will inflame people. So you have the economy not doing as well as it has in the past. So what do? They start saying, well, it's the brown people who coming across the border that are taking your jobs. And so from that standpoint, you have those people saying, we pointing fingers at those individuals. Oh, it's the people coming from Africa. They're taking your jobs, right? Even though that could have, I mean, that, so they want to say it's the transgender folks. Now, and think about that. Back when Bush ran, right?
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing then was that they played on was the whole gay marriage thing. And then once gay marriage passed, right? Now they're saying, well, okay, we can't really go after the gay marriage deal, but we'll go after what? The transgender folks. And so my whole thing is that they're playing these cultural issues to appeal to passions of people, or really to the worst side of an individual, to try to do what? To maintain power, to keep people from knowing that they are plucking pockets from everybody. I mean,
Trump, plucking pockets. That's interesting.
Yeah, plucking pockets, man. I mean, Trump is up there. I mean, he's stealing more money than you can shake a stick at, man. They say he's made $5 billion in the 8 months that he has been in office from just his crypto stuff. He's got all of these deals going down where Intel has to pay 15% to the government. NVIDIA has to pay 15% to the government to sell their products over in China. I mean, they always go around talking about Democrats are radical socialists, but who's doing the socialism? Who's taking the profits from the entities to do business here in America?
I just came up with a new word: kleptocracy.
Kleptocracy?
Yeah.
Kleptocracy.
Yeah, I mean, it's instead of democracy.
Right.
Klepto.
Right. But the thing is this. But we've got
stealing.
Yeah. Oh, they're stealing like a champ, man. They're stealing like a champ. But the deal is that we've got this situation, and they have really just used this whole Charlie Kirk situation to just really try to accelerate their power grab.
And the thing about that is that, as I said earlier, he was shot by a Mormon, a transgender Mormon.
Right.
But HBCU schools were targeted.
Right.
Initially.
Well, but the thing is this, you know what? But when I read the letter that was sent to the HBCU schools, I think they were trying to say it was more so about the little Ukrainian girl that had gotten killed on the train.
Ah, that's what that was about.
That was about. Right?
Oh, so it wasn't with Charlie.
Well, it wasn't with Charlie. It just happened to be after Charlie, the day after Charlie got shot. But the letter referred to the Ukrainian girl, which I think is just kind of it's I'm not gonna say funny. The fact it's ironic, right? Because the thing is this: they're all up in arms about the Ukrainian girl who got killed, and I'm sorry about that. That happened to her, right? But the thing is that on the flip side, they don't even want the Ukrainians to come here. You follow me? We're not supporting them at all. So the Ukrainian young lady was a foreigner who was here through immigration. So they're saying that all the foreigners got to go, but they're upset that she got killed. I mean, it's like I don't. It's inconsistent, with what they've been harping about. Now, of course, like I said, the girl shouldn't have been killed, but they're also trying to play it up. The guy had extensive mental health history. But what they're doing, they're putting up pictures of the brother because he had dreads, right?
He looks black.
Yeah.
Because he is black.
He is black.
Yeah.
And so he's got dreads. And then they put her, she was an attractive young lady,
right?
They put them together and then they were like, she should have been living except for him. So they really Willie Horton him, making the Willie Horton deal, as it relates to, it's the black folks. So that's why we took over DC because of the crime, things of that nature. And he's just trying, he being Trump, is just trying to keep your eyes off of the ball of what's really going on.
So what's really going on?
Well, the thing is this: the economy's not doing well. I just saw a deal for a group of farmers in Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
Man, they were going off, talking about the tariffs, talking about, hey, look, he's talking about we don't pay for the tariffs. He's like, I'm paying for this when I'm trying to get parts for my combine or my tractors, to double from what they were last year. We're paying this stuff. And if we don't get some help soon, we're going to all go under. We've got, the inflation is going up. He gets up and tells people that, the inflation is down, your groceries are down, and people going to the grocery store saying,
where you shopping at?
Yeah, where you shopping? Because my groceries are going up. So he's doing all this stuff to do what? To deflect, to keep people from being focused on what's really going on in the country.
So you think it's working?
Well, I think it's working, but I think right now he's starting to bite off a little bit more than he can chew. Sometimes my mom used to say this, man. She used to say, when somebody was doing too much, she was like, he getting too cute. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what's going on, because what he has done now, based on Charlie, it's just been a assault on individuals that he says are left-wing individuals that are causing violence in this country. And that's totally not the case. There has been violence on both sides, but there are studies that show that the right-wing violence has been more prevalent in this country versus left-wing violence. And how do we know that? Do you know that?
I don't know.
There was a study which was on the Department of Justice website. All right. And this was by an organization within the Department of Justice, which is called the National Institute of Justice. And they have done a study as it relates to left and right-wing violence. All right. They have indicated that since 1990 till to this day, that far-right extremists have committed far more motivated homicides than far left or radical Islamists, including, this is right-wing people. They have committed 227 events since 1990 that have took more than 520 lives.
No one's reporting this.
Right?
No one's talking about this.
Okay. Right? From the far left since 1990, there have been 42 incidents, 520 to 42, right? And of those 42, 78 people have lost their life, right? And then what we have to do is, we know it's not true. We just saw 1,500 folks on January 6th just ransack the Capitol that he has pardoned that were right-wing people.
So much for law and order.
Right. We have seen, as we just stated, Paul Pelosi being attacked. We have seen the attack on the FBI. You remember the guy that went to the FBI, I think it was in Alabama somewhere, where he attacked the FBI office? Right? They ended up killing him. But those things are happening. Political violence that is occurring on the right side. But he says none of that is occurring, even though the stats show otherwise. Now, let me tell you something that's really funny. The report that I just outlined to you, this report is called What NIJ Research Tells Us About Domestic Terrorism. I've seen this report before. It's been on the DOJ website for a while.
Uh-oh.
Right?
Something ain't gonna be right.
Charlie Kirk was killed on September 10th, if I'm not mistaken. Trump came out the next day saying that it was more left-wing violence that was occurring in this country, right? I just read you that this official DOJ report says is right-wing.
Right.
On September 12th, listen to me, folks. On September 12th, this report, which had been on the DOJ website,
disappeared,
was removed, taken off the website just this week because it is inconsistent with the narrative, with the political narrative. And when we get to the point where we're just more concerned about the politics of the situation versus the facts, then we've got a real issue that's going on in this country. Real issue. And that just shows you when he's talking about, oh, it's the left wing, it's a left wing conspiracy. We need to bring the law and we need to bring a RICO action against George Soros. They're doing all of these things to try to evade the fact that the right wing is the one, and he is the one that is fomenting all of this violence that's going on in this country. He tells people all the time, oh, get that guy out of here, punch him in the mouth.
Right.
I'll punch him in the mouth and I'll pay your legal fees. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. He tells the police officers, oh, don't be nice to him, rough him up a little bit. Right. He told some of his cabinet members in the first deal when he was dealing with the immigration, can't we just shoot him in the legs? He's done all of these things that are clearly illegal. Clearly. But he wants to tell you, oh, it's the other folks that are starting all this stuff. And so we get to the point where he's trying to put this violence solely on left wing. He's going to this week, I'm going to designate Antifa as a terrorist organization. I don't know about you. Have you ever met anybody that said they were in Antifa?
I can't even spell it.
Yeah. I mean, from what I understand, it's an ideology. And there are people that, that say that they're anti-fascist.
And I hear that too. I get emails and text messages and all that saying you part of the left wing Antifa. And I'm going like, look, I'm black.
Right.
I ain't got nothing to do with me. That's your people doing that.
Right.
I'm not part of that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, but I've never met anybody that's come up to me and said, I'm a member of Antifa.
Antifa.
Yeah, I never in my life.
Yeah, I'm like, who'd you marry to? Right, Antifa. Right, you Antifa. I mean, who? Antifa. Okay,
yeah,
you Antifa.
No.
Okay.
I mean, but it's crazy. But they want to say everything is coming from one side, and then they're doing everything they can to utilize the power of the government to not only silence individuals, but also they're using it to try to eradicate us. They really are. They're trying to take away your history.
Yep.
They're trying to take away your opportunity for employment.
Yep.
300,000 Black women
have
lost their jobs over these DEI alleged purges.
Right.
Because people say they want to have diversity, having a choice as it relates to individuals.
So they get a twofer.
Yeah, they get a twofer.
Black woman.
No. They get a threefer. They get a Black woman, and they get one of the major backbones of the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
So that's a threefer. You follow what I'm saying? So now they're trying to say, yeah, you over there with them. Yeah, we're taking y'all jobs. And of course, a lot of people who have been coming up the economic ladder start out with jobs that are in the government.
Yep. Government jobs.
It's a good, steady job. It's a good, honorable job to have. And from that standpoint, they're trying to take those away so those individuals won't be able to have those jobs.
And so far it's working. But they also, the great replacement theory.
Yeah.
Because what they're doing now is they take the jobs from black women and they give them to white men.
Right. And that's what's going on. And it's funny you brought up the great replacement theory. I was just, sometimes I'm just on the internet just looking and stuff, right? Because at the end of this, we always get people to start talking about, well, what can we do? Things of that nature, right? And I was looking at some stats today about the demographics of the state of Texas, all right? And I've looked at the Hispanic population versus the white population. But today I saw some figures that had everything, right? So when I say everything, the white population in the state of Texas is 39.2% of the population. The Hispanic population is more than that. But what's more important is that when we look at the Hispanic population, the black population, and the Asian population, that is 60% of the population in the state of Texas. You follow what I'm saying? Now, I know everybody that's black ain't going to be a Democrat, and I know everybody that's white's not a Republican. So you got a mix in Asian and Hispanics. People are different people. But the thing is that there's no way that we have 60% of the population is either black, Hispanic, or Asian, and then we should only be 10, 15% of the elected officials. There's no way. So what does that make you know? That they are using mechanisms and schemes to ensure that they are being elected and we are being excluded. You follow what I'm saying?
I follow.
Just like with the gerrymandering. Just like with this whole thing that they did with the redistricting, all of those things there, right? And so from that standpoint, we've got to make sure that we get out, we need to register folks. We need to get out and vote, things of that nature. Yeah, it's really bad. So what do you think of this whole thing now where, you're getting to the point now where you can't express how you feel?
Wow. Well, I think when it comes to that's censorship, and it's been a long time coming on that, and I am saddened behind it, and I'm really angry about that. Not just saddened, but it's making people stand down, and I think we need to stand up.
Right. Well, yeah. We definitely need to stand up because, if you can't express how you feel. If you're sitting there and you're thinking, hey, if I say this, somebody's gonna get mad. it's kind of like you back in elementary school.
I'm gonna tell.
And you got the big bully out there, and and really he just a comic and a fool or whatever, but you can't say nothing because you think he gonna beat you up.
Which is I'm glad I retired because I don't have to worry about that. Even when I was in the workforce, I was saying things on Channel 8 all the time, and then the next day I come back to work, someone says, you still have a job.
Right. Well, you know what? That it's funny you said that because I did think about the fact that you were retired. And then I thought about myself. I said, man, well, I'm still working. I said,
they can't fire you.
But I said, but yeah, maybe they could call my office and leave some messages or whatever.
And well, they can still do stuff.
Yeah. But
in this particular case, you can deny someone credit. You can do all kinds of things. You just can't fire them, but it's other things you can do.
Right. Yeah, but it's to the point now where Trump is basically saying that if you don't go with how I see things, then we can take your broadcast license.
And that's what happened
with
should
Jimmy
Kimmel. Take you off the air. And the same thing with lawyers. And then these lawsuits where you sue someone for $15 billion.
Right.
Who the hell gets sued for $15 billion?
Right. And then on top of it is that what you're really doing is that you're suing people
and
then utilizing the power of the government to then coerce that individual into settling for something. I mean, because that's the one thing when he got the 15 million from ABC. Was it ABC? No, it wasn't ABC. It was Paramount, I believe. They were trying to do a merger, so they had filed the case against CBS, and they were supposed to be going through a merger. So he uses that to, if you don't settle this lawsuit, then hey man, I'm not going to.
There's no justice.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not. And for Republicans to just sit there and act like this is normal, I mean, that's what's really that's just really disheartening.
It's disheartening on it, but will it change? I don't think it's going to change immediately. I just don't think so.
Well, but the one thing that I'm starting to, I mean, we've had a couple of Republicans that came out, and one, I've got to kind of surprised me.
Who, Ted Cruz?
That Ted Cruz came out and said something against, his Lord and Master.
Which proves a point. The point it proves is if you listen to a fool long enough, sooner or later you'll find something to agree with them on.
Right.
And,
you talking about Ted?
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because you know what, my wife and I said that this morning. We said, I mean, this is the first time I've really, I've agreed with something he said.
Yeah, and you don't want to say it too loud. Like, I agree with you,
man. Yeah. But for those that don't know, Ted came out and basically said that the FCC commissioner, who came out and said that they could take Jimmy Kimmel off. They could do it the hard way or the easy way.
Yeah, it sounds like gangster stuff.
Oh, that is gangster.
You do it easy, hard.
Yeah. How you want to do this? We can do it either way.
Either that or you imitating Tina Turner.
Tina Turner?
Yeah, rough, easy.
Oh, rough and easy. Okay. Proud Mary?
Yeah, Proud Mary. Yeah.
All right. It took me a little time to get
I understand. Right. I'm back.
I know. You've been at home. You've been having time to practice.
No. This is where I roll, man.
But the thing is this. So basically, he said that, hey, look, if they don't do what we want, then we may be able to take their license. And so Ted Cruz actually came out and said, hey, that really sounded like some Goodfella type stuff.
Yeah.
That was something that was out of the movies. I mean,
it had to be.
Yeah, it was inappropriate.
Yeah, because he's doing entertainment, so he that's what he did.
Right.
So I know they get the boss's attention. I just said like
right. That. I mean, but what did Trump say when he heard that? When they asked him about it, he said, "Ted's wrong. Ted's wrong.
Lying Ted
is wrong. Yeah. He's wrong." Tom Tillis, the Republican, came out.
North Carolina.
He came out and said that it was wrong.
Yeah, but he's retiring.
So they're not going to really listen to him. But the point is, are there going to be any other Republicans that are going to come out and say that? Because, Republicans are supposed to be what? They're supposed to be, we're conservative. We're following the Constitution.
What's that?
We're for personal liberty.
What word was that again? You use?
The Constitution. Yeah.
You threw me off with that one, man. What is that?
Yeah, that's that document that we're supposed to be following.
That one.
Yeah, document. That's supposed to outline.
Yeah.
Because one of the arguments that I've heard the Republicans say is that, well, they could take them off because, the conversation or the programming is supposed to be in the public interest. You've heard them say that?
Mm-hmm.
And so the thing is, I mean, that's kind of funny to me as a lawyer when they sit there and say, well, that should be in public, it should be in the public interest. Well, public interest, I've never seen that in the Constitution as it relates to the First Amendment. It doesn't say you have a right to free speech if it's in the public interest. It just says you got a right to free speech. So public interest has to be something that is in one of two things. Either it's in a statute or it's in some regulations, right? Now, the law follows what we call hierarchy. The top dog, the top thing to follow is the Constitution. And the statutory law has to be consistent with the Constitution. Regulations have to be consistent with the statutory grant of authority that was given by Congress and also with the Constitution. So the Constitution, for those of you that play spades, is always the trump card.
I hate using that word.
Oh man, yeah, I forgot that. But yeah, but that's what it is. It's the Trump card. And so in that situation, public interest does not override a person's First Amendment rights. It doesn't. It can't elevate to that point.
No, that sounds like somebody discovered some fly word. They say public interest.
Right.
They don't even know the definition of it.
Well, but the thing is that public interest could be in the statute, public interest could be in the regulations, but you can't use public interest to negate a constitutional right. You follow what I'm saying? You can't say, oh, well, it's in the public interest that Michael Todd does not have a right to remain silent. Yeah, it probably would be in the public interest for me to say what if I'm accused of something. But that ain't how it works. I don't have to say anything. So his free speech right, because one thing, I mean, the right to free speech is in the First Amendment. You follow me? I mean, it's there. It's the first thing. It's the most important thing. And so if you can't have a right to say what you feel, then, I mean, what are we doing in this country?
Talking loud and saying nothing.
Talking loud and saying nothing. I can't really understand. I mean, things are getting disheartening, I mean, it really is.
We have to keep fighting, and I'm really tired of saying that, because we need a win.
Right.
We need a win, and that's what we need.
Well, I mean, the biggest win. We got some elections that are coming up in November, New Jersey, Virginia. Now, one thing we can point to is that there have been special elections that have been going on since Trump was elected. And in these special elections, we have been doing very well. Democrats have been doing very well. Even in districts, I think it was, I can't remember what state it was, but it was a special election last month.
Iowa.
It was in Iowa. You're right. It was in Iowa. And Trump had won that district by 10 points, I believe.
And it was a big swing.
The Democrat ended up winning the district. Trump had won the district by 10 points. The person that was being replaced had won the district by 12 points. And the Democrat won the district by 10. So that was a 22-point swing. Democrats had lost it by 12 before, and they ended up in the special election winning it by 10 as 22-point swing. So those are the type of things that we have to build on. But, we can't, I get tired of reading all these articles, man, about, and one thing about Democrats, man, they just start piling on each other, man. So all of these articles talking about, well, we don't have a message, we unorganized, this, that, and the other. My whole thing is sometimes you just got to let stuff play out. And I think that Trump and the Republicans are overplaying their hand. The things that they're doing here in Texas, with respect to the abortion issues. Now they're sitting up there with doing the whole issues with respect to redistricting. We can't talk about Black or Hispanic. Like you can't even have a Black student club in high school anymore.
Mm-mm.
They're firing professors down at Texas A&M for coursework that they're talking about. You got little people in the courtroom filming folks, right? Turning them in. This feel like Germany, man.
Yep,
you over here. We turning people in. For what they say, not for what they do, but for what they say.
In private companies, they're doing that as well.
Right, in private companies.
I received a message earlier this week regarding that.
Really?
Yeah, they're doing that as well.
Yeah, they looking at scouring all the social media for teachers and turning them in to TEA. I mean, what is all this?
And the sad part about that with TEA, Mike Morath, the education commissioner.
Correct.
Alpha brother.
Oh yeah, I know he's a brother.
Yeah,
I didn't know he was Alpha.
He's Alpha.
Okay. Well, where did he play?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't remember that.
It probably wasn't HBCU, huh?
No, it wasn't HBCU, and also he's white.
Yeah, he probably started out at Cornell.
Yeah, Cornell. You know your history, don't you? But yeah, but that being said, that's what it is, man.
Yeah,
and that goes back to where we were going at earlier, because who are they targeting? They targeting black women.
Right. Yeah, they are.
So now you got an alpha brother,
right,
targeting black women.
Right. Right. But you know what? There's some things that, that like I say, the special elections are out there. Those are things that we can look at and build on. And it's not just the cases in Iowa. We've been winning those special elections, outperforming our historical averages by a whole lot.
And in the courts, we've been winning as well.
And that's what I was just about to go to. This past, back on August 28th, there was a group of individuals, the ACLU, some other organizations, they filed suit here in Texas as it relates to the redistricting. They've also filed suits against the DEI ban as it relates to the high schools. And I really anticipate with some of these firings that have occurred at A&M and some of the, and it's another college where some people have lost their job over what they allegedly said. I think we're probably going to have some lawsuits that are going to be attacking the DEI bans and the critical race theory bans that are in the collegiate levels, right, here in Texas. And so what we've got to do, we've got to support these entities that are actually filing these suits, because I tell you, it takes a lot of money and time and effort,
right,
to be able to fund this type of litigation. So I saw within the last month, I saw the NAACP filed a suit here, the ACLU, Democracy Forward, and another organization. I can't remember. But you know what I did with respect to all four of those?
You gave money.
I went to their websites. I pulled it up. I did a donation to all four. And don't tell my wife this. I made it monthly. Every month. Now, it may not be a whole lot, but if we do it as a group,
consistency over time,
then it adds up. But those organizations, Democracy Forward, the ACLU, the NAACP, and I can't remember the last one. I think it may have been the Latino organization. I have made donations to all of them for the month. Every month, I want money going to those people, because I want them to know that I support what they're doing. And that's what we have to do. We have to see those individuals that are out there on the front lines. Jasmine Crockett's out on the front line. She's out there, and she's taking a lot of heat, because they want to do what? They want to call her stupid. They want to say that she's lying about her. Now at one point they ghetto. Now they trying to say, well,
she way too much money.
Yeah. She pretending that she ghetto. All of this kind of stuff. But you know that there are a lot of people that are probably doing threats with respect to her.
Exactly.
And so what we have to do, so she has to have security, things of that nature, especially with all this crazy stuff. We need to give money to her. We need to make sure that we're supporting these people on the front line, so they know that we've got their back, that we got our boots on, our laces tied up, and that we are there and we are helping and assisting in the manners that we can. If it's $10 a month, $20 a month, we need to make sure that those donations are being made. We need to go out. We need to canvass people. You can have people, just when you come into contact with them on a regular basis, any frequent basis, just ask, are you registered to vote? If not, we can then do what? We can, give them a card and tell them, hey, look, you need to go out there. You need to, you need to register. We need to be able to vote. I mean, when we said before the election that democracy was on the line,
we wasn't lying.
I wasn't lying, but I didn't think it would be this quick.
No, it wouldn't.
I mean, man, we about to start having. I don't know what we about to start doing, man.
Yep, it is.
But we got to keep fighting. I know that.
All right, let's let that be our closing.
All right,
and we'll see you guys back next month.
All right, everybody have a good day. Legal Standpoint.